Hello, this is Olga Jevtich. I'm Miss Virginia, Senior America 2003, and this is Fashion Notes. I'm glad you are tuning in right now because we have a fascinating, interesting guest with us today. Her name is Katja Tarkan, and as you can see, we are surrounded by her beautiful, beautiful work that she does. I'm going to ask her many questions about her work. But this is so colorful, and I feel like I'm in the candy store. And thank you very much for coming today to showing us your work. Katja is a Russian girl that she learned her craft in Russia and perfected here. And also she went to Italy recently, I understand, and learned, all tricks of the trade making the felt. As you know, you buy felt, by the yard, when you go to the fabric store. But this is different thing. She makes her own felt from the wool. And this is the art. And this is something that people do not know how to do unless you learn the technique, which is very complicated. And, when you perfect it, it's absolutely beautiful and fascinating. And she makes different things from the felt that she makes. And I don't know but this is really so different. And to make fabric, it's called felt. It's a really special form of art that she is working on. And I'm going to ask her, how did you start first? What fascinates you with the felt, first of all?
Well, I've been designing and making clothes for a long time, as far as I remember.
But in the regular fabric,
that's correct.
Regular fabric.
I've been sewing, I've been knitting, crocheting, I've been exploring various other techniques that are surrounding the creating of fashion, creating of accessories. And I realized that one thing that was completely missing from my vocabulary is shoes. I could make anything from bathing suit to winter coat or hat, but I could not make shoes. And then I realized that people were making shoes out of wool by using the felting technique. That got me interested in that. And then I realized that felting is not limited to shoes at all, and it's an amazing world of creation, of mastery of the materials that are now thankfully available more and more. I assume this kind of revival of felting is partially due to the availability of the new materials. Because originally the felted boots, the Russian traditional winter wear that allows you to survive any kind of cold.
Because of the climate, perhaps,
That's right.
they need warmth, and
yes.
They're very inventive how to do it.
Right, and they were making boots out of sheep wool, out of sheared sheep hairs. And they were exactly the right things for the winter. They could withstand any cold, and they would not allow you to get wet even if you step into the river.
Yes, moisture absorbent also.
Yeah, they're absorbent, but they're wicking it away from your body. So even if you step into the icy river in felted boots, you will not feel cold. You will not get sick because it's that's an amazing quality.
This is so fascinating.
But
and so you don't buy a wool? It's already. Do you dye the wool? Or how is the process?
The process is, as you said, rather complicated. I brought samples here to show what is the... So this is an example of wool that goes into...
Do you buy wool like that, in this color? Or you have to dye?
I buy wool in different colors because dyeing wool is very complicated process. It's done in a factory. Actually, in Italy, I visited a factory which dyes wool and produces like this very piece.
I see. Oh, so soft.
It's merino wool, yes.
It's so beautifully so.
It's wonderful.
And then what I imagine, correct me if I know a little bit about it, that you wet. Do you wet first?
Yes, this is wet felting. There is dry felting, there's
and then you
felting.
put layers of different, how you see in your mind.
Yes, you use it not from the middle, but from here, and you take just
very thin.
a few hairs, just a few hairs at a time. So everything you see here is made by laying hair by hair,
layering. As you can see, probably
hair.
if you look through here, you can see different colors, the layers of the different color wool. And it's interesting, but you know, you have to know how, because this is, everywhere is the same. It's not thicker or thinner here. It looks all the same, like it
looks
was,
like a fabric,
looks
but it
like
started
a regular
out from
fabric.
individual hairs.
And also it's very, very soft. You cannot buy this in your regular store, that's for sure. This is something that only very fine artists can produce and make it. Because this is a, you know, to me it looks like very complicated process to get the final product to look like that. You know, this is, and she makes different things, as you can see around here. And this is, what is, this is a soft fine, is this like a runner on the table?
Well, it's a shawl or
a
scarf. You can drape it around your shoulders, and it's a very decorative piece, reminiscent of the embroidered lace. Right, because you have a basic of fabric. This is the origin of this is the fabric, and I get this. I brought this, a sample of this fabric. I get this fabric directly from Uzbekistan. It's silk. I always use
silk.
Natural silk. Yes.
Natural fabric.
Natural. Yeah, it has to be natural fabric. Typical. It doesn't have to be, but it's much better if you use natural fabrics.
And also softer, and it feels better, of course, than synthetic. So do you put on wool on this fabric?
I may. In some cases, I do. Like in this piece, I used fabric. In the blue
so do you have kind of
piece, there's no foundation.
No?
There's no foundation.
No foundation.
Here there is. It depends on the technique I'm using, depends on the outcome I want to achieve. So here I wanted to have like holes and...
holes, yeah.
Right. I wanted to have it look like lace. That I wanted to see to look like a fabric. So I didn't need a foundation, although I could. For example, this piece has both fabric and wool, but you see how much more dense it is, and that was done on purpose because this is my recent invention, some kind of crazy capelet that can be worn in many different ways, and this threads through.
Actually, this is like they call it warmer, neck warmers.
Yes, it's a tiny cape.
Neck warmer.
Yes.
This is what you are wearing just about. And this is the cutest thing you can see. It's like a tulips on the end. So interesting
they're adorable to play with.
Innovating, and you just wear, you know, just a plain black dress and put something around you, and you're all.
And this one is like an instant color on any kind of outfit, and you can thread those things.
And this is a shawl too.
This is a shawl, and here I want to demonstrate how wool can be used as for painting. Basically, I love to paint, but I really don't have time for
this is made on silk.
This is
and
also
applique. I would say I would call it this applique of wool.
Yes.
Right?
Well, it's not. You're right that it looks exactly like applique, but the technique is still felting.
You know, you made this and then you applique.
Right.
How do you do? How do you? I don't know if I say glue or how do you attach?
Oh, the glue, right? The glue is wool. The whole process of felting is based on this amazing quality of sheep hair to felt. It's almost the only fiber that we know of that has this ability to felt.
And then you iron to secure it?
You iron for beauty. You don't iron to secure it. It's not. Ironing is just for aesthetic purposes. If you want it flat, you iron.
I was thinking maybe to attach.
No. Ironing has nothing to do with felting.
I see.
Felting. To describe it better, you probably have seen the commercials of some hair conditioners which show human hairs, very close up, and they show that they have some scales on them, and the conditioners claim to smooth those scales and create a shiny hair, right? So human hairs, yes, they do have scales, and if you don't comb your hair for a long time, you get dreadlocks because those scales will lock each other. Sheep hair has lots more scales. They are scaly. And once you agitate the hairs between themselves,
very soft.
Yeah, it's merino.
So you buy it
by weight,
pounds.
Yes, by weight.
By the pounds.
Yeah, they're rolled into those ponytails like this. But I use them by hair almost, like a few hairs at a time.
Can you see it's all hand done? And I'm always fascinated with people doing with the hands,
Yeah,
you know. And you can put, you know, that's why in some places you can see through, but still the fiber is, you know, is there. It's there.
For example, this you can see through, right?
Oh, yeah, this is a vest.
This is a vest, and I use different types of sheep for this vest. The felting has many tricks of the trade.
Like a baby sheep?
Endless process of learning. No, this basically you need to know thy sheep. These are different types of sheep. There are hundreds of breeds, different, you know, like dogs have breeds like German Shepherd versus Poodle. They are different. They have different hair, different behavior. So do the sheep, right? They have different hair types. And I brought a couple of sheep hairs that you can play with. These are two different sheep. I brought only white kinds, although they are different colors.
Different quality of
They're different quality, yes.
Do you work with alpaca?
Yes, I do work with alpaca. So this vest, for example, you can touch this.
The alpaca is so soft.
This is so soft. And I actually brought a sample of alpaca somewhere.
This is a vest also. Can you put that up? I'm sorry we don't have a live person that will look much better on the live person to see how it's soft and beautiful, and you know, I hope you can see the details on all of this.
So soft.
And this is a natural wool which she can use.
Sheared. It was sheared off a sheep, you know, with those special scissors.
They shear them like twice a year, I think.
Typically they do.
Spring and fall.
You're right. I think that's what they do. And sometimes maybe they wait a little longer if you want to get hairs to be longer, because then they cost much more when you get hairs to be longer lengths. Because you can see I sometimes need longer hairs. I need them for special effects. I want them to be long, so I want them to hold off and not shear them.
Yeah,
just give me longer hair.
Such a beautiful feel. The feel is just, you know, so, I don't know how to describe it. It's soft, but it's something natural. It's not, you know, it's different when you have some synthetics fiber. This is totally different. And do they come in different colors when you buy them in bundles like that?
The thing with dyeing wool, I dye wool when it's already felted. Yes, that I do. I start with white.
And so do you use natural dyes?
No, I use synthetic dyes, and these are acid dyes because only they work for protein-based fibers. Both silk and wool are animal fibers. Silk is made by
there is a special colors for, not the colors, but the dyes from wool and for some other
wool
fabric.
And silk and nylon, for some reason, they go together with the same dyes, and cotton, linen, any other plant-based fabrics, they use completely different dyes. And do you
put them in hot water or cold water?
This is for hot water. Yeah, acid dyes. I have to cook them basically. Yes, I have to cook them.
And then you let them dry.
I have to let them cool first, and then.
Does it shrink when you wet?
It depends how well I do my job before I put it in.
It's just experience, probably. The more you work, you learn by, you know.
So here I wanted to touch this. Can you guess what this is?
Wow, what is this?
Silk.
Alpaca?
Silk. This is silk fiber.
Silk.
Silk.
Wow.
This is silk that came from you know, the cocoons of the.
Okay, when you have, let's say, these two pieces, do you know what are you going to do with it before you start? Do you make a sketch and then you do it, or just, you know, your hands guide you to something artistic?
I make sketches a lot. Not for every piece I make sketches, but I do tend to make sketches.
It depends on to the coordinated colors.
Yes, if I create something very daring, like visually creative, I have to draw it first because I see it in my mind's eye, but I would like to also see it on the drawing and maybe correct it and also keep it there, right? Because what if I forget what I saw before?
So look at this, how it, you know, this is silk.
This is silk fibers, yes. They came from cocoons. I actually brought a few cocoons.
I was in a silk museum in Lyon a few years ago, And it was so fascinating to see, you know, what is silk actually. Everything starts from.
They start with cocoons. These are silk.
Oops, what is this?
These are cocoons.
Ah, cocoon.
Yes, and that's what they look like once the poor animal is out of it. It's the insect, but still, I feel sorry about it.
Is this mostly made in China now? Where is the made, you know?
The majority of silk is made in China. Yes, it's because it originated from China.
Yes, it is original. I know. I saw the museum in Lyon, France.
And I brought.
They had, you know, originally, you know, they brought silk from China in France. And I saw for the first time, you know, something like that, which was fascinating, that people are making with it. And this is silk, is it?
This is silk, but it's silk from India. And it was not dyed this color. It came, the cocoons were actually this color. It's a natural golden silk.
So this is a natural color?
Yes, and it's very rare, and it only grows and lives in a certain place in India, in one state in India, where they grow cocoons, moths that grow cocoons of this kind of color. And even that, they typically bleach before they ship it out.
Can you combine silk and, you know, all these different fibers together in one garment?
That's the whole point of creativity, because all these fibers combine. Due to sheep, they by themselves, they would not do anything at all.
So what is the easiest, you know, combination of fibers when you use easiest, you know, when you start working, let's say, and then you progress to something more complicated?
Well, the technically blending of the fibers is not the challenge. They will blend because wool will grab them. The scales on the wool hairs grab anything. Anything, you know, that is possible. So you kind of need to know what's possible, but that's not the difficult part. The difficult part is to find natural combinations that work well together. And also I wanted to show, like here, for example,
yeah, this is wonderful.
These are silk fibers. You see, they are laying on top of wool. They are barely visible, but they do give a sheen.
Invisible, yeah.
Because wool is not shiny, and silk is shiny. So if you want to get just a little bit of sheen,
this is a shawl.
This is a shawl. Yeah, you can just drape it.
This is really exquisite piece, and combination of colors, and also you can see some holes.
Yes, philodendron
which they are really, you know, did that on purpose. Not that this is, you know, something ripped. It's not.
No, and these pieces are surprisingly sturdy. They look very fragile. And as I meet customers at Torpedo Factory Gallery, where I present my stuff among many other wonderful artists there, it's sometimes very cute to see people ask questions that. Can I put it to the dry cleaners? Will be ruined? This thing will not be ruined by almost anything.
Sturdy,
it's
you know,
so strong.
It looks, you know, kind of very fragile, but actually it's not.
As long as you don't put it in the washing machine, you can do anything with it. Really,
this
you can
is
do
fascinating
anything.
to know.
It's very strong.
You know, I found Katya at the Torpedo Factory. I mentioned many times on our show. We had a number of artists from Torpedo Factory. I really highly suggest if you go to Torpedo Factory, there's so many interesting artists there, and they do different things, and many times they demonstrate what they're doing there, so you can see how the thing's done. For example, what she was talking about her felt today, it's just so fascinating, and what she's working from, so you can see the finished product, and also, you know, the raw material that she brought here with all these beautiful colors that, you know, she's using. So that's why I really recommend, when you have a chance, it's a wonderful place to go to Torpedo Factory and see all these lovely artists, you know, what they're doing there. And also look what, you know, she's doing, like shawls and vest, and also hats.
Yes.
You know, the hats. And you stretch them to make them, you know, to give them a form.
No, it's a completely different process. I start with hairs, and I laid this hat from millions of hairs, and I actually, the shape that you see is built into the layout of, I start with the idea of how I want this hat to be when it's done.
Wow,
And then I lay
really
the hairs accordingly. That's a different type of felting.
Oh
I
yeah,
want to show.
this one
It's
has
knitted.
a lining.
It's knitted, and then
I think
it's
this
felted.
one is made for Russian, like a Siberian days. It's very, very cold.
Well, all of them are warm. Actually, the Alpaca Hat, that hat over there behind you. Yes, the one that we draped over.
I know
over
Alpaca is also extremely warm.
It's
But this
considered
is
to be 7
something
times
that
warmer.
really keeps you warm and also keep you very fashionable. Because
I
and also
embroidered it.
it's a one of a kind, and if you wear one of her hats or shawls, you'll be the only person in the world to have. You are not repeating same thing.
No, I cannot possibly repeat the same things. They all come out differently. And I don't tend to repeat things in general.
Oh, what is your favorite colors to work with?
My favorite color? My favorite color is probably this burgundy.
Purplish?
Kind of, yes. I mean, I love colors. I love all colors. I look at them like, ooh, I love them. But I tend to gravitate to this kind of like purplish color.
This is interesting. You put around your neck. And keeps
it's
you
very
warm.
interesting. Yes, it's
and
crazy,
also
but it's fun.
It's very something different, and adds elegant touch whatever you are wearing.
Yes.
And this is interesting, and also she always has an extra special touch how to tie, so you can see you can put it a little shorter or whatever you need, or more open. And they are, I think, asymmetrical because they are not the same on both sides, which makes it even more interesting, to wear it. And on the back, as you can see, one side is a little longer than the other one, and this is how she planned it. It's not something that she made mistake. She certainly did not make this mistake. So, what's the next project you are going to do?
Ooh, I have a list of projects in my head. You just caught me off guard because which one of my next projects am I going to do next? I have a long list of ideas.
For example, I didn't mention, if camera can see here, me here on the chair, like a throw, it is wool, and you can put, on your floor or on your wall, I guess.
On the wall or
on
it's
the
a throw,
on
yes.
the floor, and it's really
lined
very
it
beautiful.
With hand-dyed silk, so that it's
and
just.
The silk is on. It's very luxurious piece. It's a shame to go over it. It's probably good to put this, maybe on the sofa to curl on when you are watching television. I think that we will
and to play with, because fibers are so
it's
nice
so
to play
cozy on the winter night to have something around you, very cozy and very warm, in the winter time. But anyway, well, I don't know what else you're doing. I say hats. I show you the hats, different one with the.
And the shoes are over there. I have just one example of the shoes, the boots in the back, that was.
Jacket? You're waiting on only vest. You don't do them.
No, I do make sleeves. Yes, jackets
do
and coats.
If somebody said I would like to have this vest, but maybe a little different color, would you do it?
Of course, I can.
Like a custom, You want, to have something, maybe something different.
Felt feels like a superpower because you can do anything.
As
Color,
you can
texture.
see, that she's a multi-talented lady with beautiful things, and she is going to show probably in the fall. Usually, craft shows are in the fall, and you can go and patronize the craft shows, coming up in the fall.
And our gallery, the Potomac Fiber Arts Gallery in Torpedo Factory, where me and many other wonderful artists
and as you know, you can
presenting.
also see some of our program on YouTube. And I would like to thank you very much for coming today and showing us her beautiful creation. And I hope you tune in the next time for another exciting artist from our area. And I would like to thank Katya for coming today and showing us all these interesting and beautiful made things. This is fascinating because people do not know most of the how these interesting things are made, that she pointed out how is done with an interesting and long process, which is not easy to do. And it is fascinating, and I'm thankful for you that you came today to, to show us this.
Thank you so much, Olga.
This is Olga Jevtich reporting for Fashion Notes. And please tune in again for another episode on wonderful, wonderful artists from our area. Goodbye. And bye-bye. I really am impressed with your work, and I would like to thank you also our models that just happened to be here and from England, and we are so thankful. Thank you very much for watching again. Bye-bye.